The Russian agents had been at my house for a few weeks before Jess started to get tired of feeling like we could never get alone time. I suppose every couple feels like they need to always be together near the start of their relationship, but it's hard when there are strange men hanging around the house. They didn't get too intrusive, but they definitely put everyone on edge. They spoke Russian to each other and were very polite. And then again, the Nazis were the same way to the Polish Jews at the start. And these guys were not only thing that made Jess feel uneasy. She didn't like that Slenderman was always close by. She said it was him that made all these things attack. I suppose a 16-foot tall man without a face is unnerving to some people. So I wasn't very surprised when Jess suggested we go to the school after hours and get some alone time. Apparently, it was common for teenagers to break into the school at night and sneak around with their friends or the people they were dating. I had no objections to it. It would be nice to have an adventure that did not involve a bloodthirsty monster. Friday night, Jess stopped by my house around 11 p.m. I was ready, shoes on my feet and a flashlight just in case. I was terrified of the dark now, and for good reason. The school was maybe a 10-minute walk away and the air was pleasantly cool, so we felt no need to rush. It's nice to hold hands and walk around at night. The school wasn't very difficult to get into at night. In a small town, there was almost no security because everyone trusted each other. A window on the first floor was open and we snuck inside. The lights automatically snapped on when it detected movement. It was the science lab, a large room with lots of long tables and cabinets. Jess and I left the room after closing the window. We walked down the halls, our shoes clacking on the blue floor tiles. The rows of silver lockers seemed to stretch endlessly, and I don't think either of us would have minded if it did. Wandering the school with just Jess and myself was fun. We chatted about things that didn't matter, Jess hugging my arm the entire time. Eventually, our conversation drifted to the people we dated in the past. I'm not sure how, and I'm sure that the subject breaks the first rule of dating. Well, I haven't dated too many girls before you, I said to her. One girl in 6th grade dated me for a week, and another girl I dated in 8th grade for about a month. Well, any girls you wish you dated? She asked me. My mind had gone blank. Sure, there was a lot of attractive girls my post-pubescent body would want to be with, but any that I would have wanted to date? Well, she asked, drawing out the vowel of the word. I'm waiting. I suppose my friend that the Rake killed. Herp? She asked, a bit startled. I thought you were just friends. We were, but I would have liked to be more than friends with her, I guess. Jess was about to respond when we heard footsteps. They were heavy, sounding like they came from military boots. The steps sounded like they were coming from behind us. Jess and I turned to see the both Russian agents there. They must have followed us. Jess sighed, exasperated, and looked at me. What the hell, Jonah? Hey, don't look at me. I was a bit defensive. I am just as shocked as you to see them here. One of the agents, a blonde man, grabbed me by the collar of my shirt and slammed me into the locker. He looked about 6 feet tall and felt like he could bench press a train. He pushed his face close to mine, his thick accent filled with a growl. We've been waiting for you to get alone. We have questions to ask you. What? I'll help, just don't kill me. I spoke with a shaking voice. This change in composure they had was terrifying. How did they change so suddenly? And why did they change? Where is the supernatural creature that has been helping you? the black-haired man said. He was holding Jess, much less roughly than the other man held me. I have no idea what you're talking about, I lied. You could have not killed both the SCPs we captured. Something else did. We believe it is similar to the SCP-582, the blonde man said. Wait, SCP? Like the CreepyPasta organization? It's a long story, but basically, the best way for us to stay classified is to release information in the form of seeming fiction. You read about us and thought it was fake, so clearly it's working. Well, I don't know the numbers of SCPs. I know their names. What is 582? 582, the blonde man began, is one of the few SCPs whose actual number and identity was used. He is commonly called Bundle. I went silent. I had never read about this SCP, but I knew it from the list I had in my room. Bundle, another Slenderman. I looked at the floor, not wanting to answer. They knew who was helping me. They knew about my protector. Look, kid, the black-haired man said, pulling his partner off me. We are doing our job. Protect people. Whatever it is helping you is not safe. It's going to... He saved my life twice, I snapped. He is perfectly safe. Just as the blonde man was going to respond, the lights cut out. We almost jumped out of our skin, a loud crashing sound coming from outside. The men started arguing in Russian, and I felt the grip on me disappear. I grabbed my flashlight from my pocket and quickly turned it on. When it was projecting its stream of light, I swung around to be sure everyone was there. Jess rushed to my side. The two men were still fighting. Scrapping sounds like rock and rock. The light swung in the direction of it all. All our breathing stopped as we stared at it. It was tall, a dull shade of orange. I couldn't make out its face very well. I heard the blonde man say something in Russian to the other man. Jess screamed in terror and hid behind me. I looked at her, her eyes shut, and the men looking at each other, shouting and rushing again. The scraping sound came back and we all looked with a gasp. It was a foot closer to us now. Keep eyesight on it, one of them said to me. This was the last resort. We were told to prepare for this. What the hell are you talking about? I said, anger rising in my voice. Did they make this thing come here? In very desperate cases, SCP will let a dangerous specimen loose in order to capture a more dangerous one. His voice stayed calm and level, trying to regain his composure. This one can't move if you keep direct eyesight with it. As if some cosmic irony, the moment the words left his mouth, the flashlight flickered. Scrape. Closer by another half foot. Flicker. Another foot closer. A collective shudder ran through all of us. Then, the light went out. A collective scream. A loud snap. I grabbed Jess and started running in the direction of the science lab. Another pair of footsteps followed us, along with that horrid scrape. I shoved the door open and heard somebody else slam it shut. The moonlight washed through the closed windows of that room. The agent with the black hair was pulling all his weight onto the door, and it still seemed like it would push open at any moment. Jess tried opening the window to find it had been locked. Everything seemed to be moving so fast. The scraping sound stopped along with the banging on the door. Silence washed over us as we stood in terror. The chills running through my blood could not be matched by any terror I had felt before. Not only were we trapped, I wasn't the only one in danger here. Jess was at much risk as me. When I looked to Jess, she was sobbing uncontrollably. I moved to hug her, but she shoved me away. She sniffled and tried to glare at me, her cheeks glistening and red. "This is your fault," she shouted at me. "You and that stupid Slenderman." "What?" I looked at her and then the man from SCP, still holding his back on the door. "This is not my fault. It's SCP for sending out a monster to try and kill us to draw out Slenderman." I tried not to sound upset, hoping it would help her. She collapsed into my arms and I held her, stroking her hair. Out through the window I could see a few men by a large crate, all dressed in body armor and carrying rifles. More SCP agents. The agent on the right took a step forward, looking off from the right. The man on the left was suddenly gone, something grabbing him and pulling him away. I blinked and stared in awe as the man turned to where his companion stood and was knocked out by something invisible in the darkness of night. I whispered to Jess to look. We both stared as we saw the dark figure move closer to the window. All black save for some white and a red tie. I pulled Jess away from the window and hunched over, back to the glass. The shattered sound was followed by a glass and tiles. When we turned back around, Slenderman was at the window, his arm reaching it and pushing the man with black hair and the door with enough force to crack the door in half. SCP-173 was standing there, staring us down. Jess and I rushed through the window and outside. We got a safe distance away before turning around. Slenderman had picked up 173. We couldn't see it very well. It was too dark and too far, but we could see Slenderman struggle with it. I suppose something with our eyes can't hold direct eye contact. Their struggle lasted for some time. I can't go into detail because, well, I couldn't see it. However, I could see very clearly when 173 was smashed into the ground over and over. Slenderman had never seemed so aggressive. His long arm was holding the SCP by the legs and whipping it against the dirt. There was a loud cracking and, after the 15th or 16th hit, 173 crumbled. The monster falling apart looked like a statue being broken. A dust poured out from inside of it, and bits of metal, but no blood. Me and Jess had a long talk after Slenderman carried us to my house. Neither of us wanted to walk. We talked about what she had said when she started crying before. She seemed to resent Slenderman when she said that, but now she loved him. I suppose someone saving your life will do that. We passed out around 1 a.m, sleeping on my bed through the night. When I woke up, Jess had left. Probably because she didn't want my parents to find out and think we did anything. I went downstairs to find my dad watching the news on TV. My mum in the kitchen doing the dishes. I sat next to my dad with a simple "good morning" and didn't give much attention to the television. I looked up when I heard Herb's name. Serial killer still at large, making his way down the East Coast. 3 more corpses found in Virginia. It is unknown what the purpose is, whether it be a statement or simply a desire to see blood. One witness to a murder said the suspect was short and had grey-brown hair with sickeningly pale skin and a blood-stained sweatshirt.